see here. Okay. All right. I don't think anybody's here yet. I'll try to give people a minute to get here. Maybe I need to move this. That'll be all right. It'll be all right. All right. So, let's see. Well, hey, buddy, how's it going tonight? All right. So, figured I'd come on here while kind of a rainy, nasty evening here, and jump in the office, and we'd have a little shop talk. Um, some things that's going on. I'm doing well. Doing well. Trying to get caught up on a lot of work. Um, some things you haven't seen, some things you will see, some things coming up, some things I've done that apparently nobody's seeing. Uh, we tried one of those ASMR videos the other day. Doesn't seem to really be doing very well. I don't know if it's the video, the format, or what. So I'm not sure I'll do another one of those. It was a teardown of an FE. We will be building that FE, doing a video, a full build series. I say series, but we'll be doing a build on that video or on that engine coming real soon and get that engine built on camera. Uh, we've got a couple of FEs to build. We've got one that needs to go on a run stand. The Jeep CJ7, you haven't seen it in a little while. It's coming back. We went to Georgia Sunday and picked up some parts um, to try to finish that Jeep up, try to finish the drivetrain in that Jeep up. And then hopefully after that, uh, do some paint body. We'll break it up in different parts. I know there should be some drivetrain stuff still coming. Paint and body work will be coming on that, and some wiring will be coming on that. So there'll be some videos on that. Um, we got some more parts for Legacy, the 63 Galaxy, the white one. I thought there's a picture of it back here, but there's not. The white one. Um, we got some parts for it. So it'll be coming back in the shop probably next week, and we'll try to get it finished up so we can get it running. Um, so we can get it finished up and get it ready for the upcoming season. The Red Galaxy, unfortunately, you probably won't see it anymore. The guy that actually owns it, we were going to run it some for him, but he decided he was going to sell the car, and I think he's found a new home for it, so you probably won't see it anymore. The 63 F100 that we called Wayland, you've seen some videos on it a long time ago, and we hadn't done anything with it. I actually sold that truck, but I'm going to finish building it for somebody. Um, Hi, Jimmy. How you doing? Yeah, Mustang out of the 63 and a half is my favorite as well. It's the one that's probably always going to be here. We got finally got the throttle linkage in for that, for those dual uh, VRS carburetors that are on it now. We finally got the throttle linkage in for that, and fuel line for it is supposed to be here on Wednesday. So next week, hopefully, we can start plumbing on that. So I'm maybe fired up here at Run for a little while. That'll be big. What else we got to work on? The Cougar will be coming back before long too, because uh, it's doing pretty good. But I need to rebuild a transmission in that car, and I got to do some front end work on it. Speaking of transmissions, I think we're going to do a build on a stick shift transmission, kind of a how to build your own garage built race transmission. and I think that video will do well too. For some reason my camera is facing down. Let me see if I can get that picked up a little bit. Maybe that's, or I could just do that. So the we're gonna do a build on probably an automatic and a manual transmission. We're gonna do that. How to build your own stick shift race style transmission. We're gonna do a video on that. We've got a lot of plans for a lot of videos, but there's a couple things that's got to get out of the way first. And one is that Jeep CJ7. We've got to get it done and out of the way, and then we can move on to some of these other projects. Power Tour this year. We do Power Tour every year, and this year we're planning on taking the wagon. We thought about taking it last year and had a last minute change of plans. But this year we plan on taking a wagon, which means I need to get the wagon in the shop in the next couple of months and do some upgrades to it. It needs a little bit of love. That gas tank that's in it is terrible. So we're probably going to ditch that whole fuel system on that car. If you're not familiar with those ranch wagons, it's a Galaxy style wagon. The fuel tank in it is up inside the fender well on the driver's side. It kind of curves around the tire. And they don't reproduce that. So we're probably going to put a Galaxy tank underneath the back of it and have to build us a filler neck that goes up to the original location and all. That will be coming, I don't know, the next few months. We've got a lot of videos coming out in the next few months that hopefully will appeal to a lot of people. We know we got 2 FE builds coming. We know we got the 2 transmission builds coming, a manual and automatic. We know we got a lot of 63.5 Galaxy content coming. We'll have that 63 F100. We'll have some work done on it. We're going to put the motor for it on the run stand and run it and see how it sounds at some point. We got a Pontiac motor we're going to put on the run stand and run if anybody's into Pontiacs. Jimmy, I was wanting to do a test run with the red one too. That car never belonged to me. That car belonged to a friend of mine, and he just didn't care about racing it anymore, and it was kind of just sitting. So we were going to take it and run it some and make some passes in it. And he called me, I think it was last night, and told me that he found somebody that wanted to buy it. I didn't realize he was thinking about selling it. He found somebody that wanted to buy it, and so it's going back to him this week and probably to a new home. So you may actually get to see it race. You just won't be with me. But we still got the white 63.5, so that one you will be seeing making some racing passes. Hopefully, all the parts come in this week. We'll do a little tinkering with it. Hopefully, sometime right after the first of the year, we're going to get out there and start making test passes with it because we've got some plans for that car. We're going to change it up just a little bit, and we're going to turn that car into it's still going to be a race car. We're still going to carry it to the track and race it. But my primary focus of that car, I think I want it to be a drag and drive car. So the 63.5 is going to go more toward the drag and drive stuff. We're still going to do, there's 3 no prep races they do right here practically in my backyard. Every year they call Flashlight Frenzy. And they have a stick shift class there. We'll still run those races. We're probably still going to take it to the No Name Nationals in September. But I want to set that car up more as a drag and drive car that I can take from place to place without a trailer, or I should say without it being on a trailer. It's going to require some changes. One, we're going to change the rear gear in it, and I'm sure when I change the rear gear, the suspension is going to need some setup work done to it because it's probably not going to be as happy as it is now. Then we also at some point in time have that 67 F100 that we've got to get started on. I'm excited about getting started on that 67, but it's probably going to be spring or summer before we ever actually start on that one. But the channel is going to shift more back to its roots. You're going to see a lot more of the 63.5. You're going to see the Cougar and the wagon. And yeah, I decided to do a live video tonight, Russell. Kind of sitting here waiting on parts till they get in, kind of thing. So I figured I'd try it. So the channel's gonna go back more what it used to be. A lot of the 63.5, a lot of the Galaxy, a lot of the Cougar and the wagon, a lot of those, because those are our main vehicles. We're also going to be doing some with the 67 F100. And, of course, we will build that 63 F100, even though we've sold it to somebody else. We will be building that on the channel. And so, yeah, we'll get a lot of good content out of those. Again, got to finish up that Jeep CJ first. That's the one that's kind of, it belongs to somebody else, and I need to get it done and get it out of here so I can work on my own toys and make video for you guys. And get those things done. Again, the plan right now is for the Galaxy, the 63.5, to go more toward a drag and drive type setup. And then, of course, we're going to take it to those no prep races, and we're planning on taking it to the No Name Nationals in September. As long as nothing doesn't change between now and then, it would be. I think with those, how many is that? That's the 63.5. That's the Cougar, the wagon, that 63 F100 that we're doing, and then the 67 F100. That's 5 vehicles that we can make content on, and I think we can get a lot of good content out of those. And then, of course, we got the 2 FE engine builds we're going to do that we can get a lot of different kinds of content out of that. That doesn't necessarily pertain just to FEs. We can do head videos and how to do work on heads. We can do all kinds of things and get content out of those. And then, of course, we got, transmissions. We can do manual transmission type videos too. We can get stuff out of those as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming that we can do a lot of good videos with. What I would like to do before the end of this year is hit 10,000 subscribers. Now we're only about 300 away from that 10,000 mark. So if we can light a fire under somebody and kind of get them to hit that button, that would be a great help if we could get out there and do that and get those doing. But that'll happen when it happens, I guess. I had to order some parts today for some of these things that I'm working on, and at best, I don't think I'm gonna start getting parts till Wednesday now. So tomorrow is going to be one of those where we're just going to have to chip away at some of the little insignificant things while we wait on parts. Maybe tomorrow I'll do some kind of video on working on heads or something, just because that is actually what I'm doing right now. I'm doing a set of heads for a friend, and that may be something that'll be decent video content. Is just show you how I go over a set of heads and kind of look at them and dig into them and see what's going on with them, and maybe that'll make some good content. We also do want to do that video on how to convert your stock manual transmission to a race style transmission. We want to do that too. Those are pretty easy videos that we can knock out pretty quick, and I think somebody will get some good feedback in. What do you guys think of those ASMR videos? Mine doesn't seem to be doing very well. I thought I'd give it a try. Everybody tried to talk me into doing one, so I've done one, and it just doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be getting a love. A brand new TKX, a couple of C4s laying around. I wouldn't mind building an automatic. selling that one. You wouldn't mind building a. Wait, you talking about selling your TKX or selling an automatic? Which one are you talking about selling there, Mustang guy? Um, I got to build the C4 in that Cougar, and I've never built an automatic, but I have a buddy who is very gifted at building C4s, and he has agreed to take me to school, so to speak. And I think we're going to do a whole video on that. As I'm learning, everybody will kind of go through it with me, and we'll see. Oh, you're selling an automatic? Okay. Um, I think as I'm learning, everybody will kind of learn with me, kind of thing. Because I know that C4 and that Cougar is just it's just shot. It's just it was probably no good to start with, and I've been beating on that thing for a couple of years. So it's just it shouldn't be running as good as it does now, but it didn't make the transmission any better when I put nitrous on it. um, Nitrous does not fix your transmission, just in case you were ever wondering. Especially if it's a C4 that slips into high gear. Nitrous doesn't fix that. Um, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that it's made it worse. It didn't fix it. um, I kind of joked around about putting nitrous on the 63 and a half. I don't think I will though. I may. Right now, I don't think I will. I'd like to see what that engine does without it. Um, I think that engine should be a beast. I did a video on the rundown of it, and uh, on paper, it should make good horsepower. It should make a lot of power. So we'll see what happens with that one. Uh, and then, of course, when we finally get around to the 67, I've been out back in my mind 100 times on what I'm going to do with that. Trying to think if I want to make it just. I'm drawn to that truck because my first truck was a 67 F100, and I've had about 200 of those F100 trucks in my life, and only one was a 67. It was my first one, and I've kind of been wanting another one. So now I'm torn. Do I fix it just like the one that I had that was my first truck? Or do I, do the typical F100 thing, kind of Crown Vic it in 8.8 and lower it down a little bit and kind of rowdy and the thing that everybody does? Or, or let's go true late 70s and make it a four-wheel drive and put like 32s on it, 33s at most, the roll bar in the bed, the KC daylighters up on the roll bar, and give it that old 70s looking, feel to a four-wheel drive truck. Kind of thought about going that direction with it. Um, then, of course, there's a less popular option of keeping it stock, which I don't think I can keep anything stock. Um, I just don't think I don't think it's in me to leave anything alone. So, I mean, for me, that's about where we're at. I mean, there's 5 vehicles that you'll see rotated throughout the channel in 2025: the 63 and a half, the 67 Cougar, the 68 wagon, the 63 F100, and 67 F100. You're going to see those kind of rotating around as we work on stuff, and then of course the engines and stuff. I don't think you'll see as many outside engine builds going forward. You'll see engines when I need to do an engine for something, kind of thing. Uh, I just think that's the way it's going to be from going forward from here on. So, what are you guys working on? I know Russell, if he's still in here, I know he is building a Cleveland with Chevrolet heads, where everybody else in the world is taking Cleveland heads and putting them on stuff. He's ditching the Cleveland heads and putting them on putting the Chevrolet heads on a Cleveland. So I'm kind of anxious to see how that turns out. If that is the secret to horsepower, are just the secret to making the internet explode. Uh, I have not been that brave yet. Although I will say you inspired me. I've thought about sitting out there and just setting different heads on engines now and seeing what kind of looks like it'll line up. Um, but that's pretty much wrapped up for me. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Um, I think I think we'll have a good 2025. I think it's going to be a good year. Um, I think we'll have a lot going on, and I think once we get some of this outside work taken care of, the goal is to just work on our stuff. And in order for me to do that, I need to get over this 10,000 hurdle, and I think we're about 300 away from that 10,000 now. Uh, 86 F-150, 306. Trying to get unlocked. That 306, I'm actually surprised it's locked down. 306 is a crazy tough motor. I bet if you get it unlocked, it'll still run. Um, and an 86, those body style trucks don't get enough love. Those are kind of the overlooked ones. Everybody likes the 60s and 70s trucks, and then it's like they jump up to the uh, late, is it late 80s, early 90s? When they changed the body style, they might have changed the body style around 85 or 86, didn't they? And went to the more rounded nose. Maybe I'm thinking 85, like the 80 through 85, that brick nose. Those are the ones that don't get enough love. Um, those trucks just get overlooked, and they're great trucks. Um, what was the last one I had? No, I'm thinking the last one I had was a 95, not an 85. So yeah, the 86 is probably still the flat kind of brick nose truck. So yeah, those things just get overlooked, and I think they're great trucks. Honestly, if I could go out there and just pluck one out from somewhere, I would try to find me like a 84, 85. Yeah, that body style truck, short bed, 4-wheel drive. I think that would be just the absolute killer truck. And then if you pair that, uh, it sounds odd, but if you pair that with a 306 and like a 4-speed, 5-speed transmission, 4-speed, granny geared 306, and I mean, you could have just a killer truck. 92 Chevy Blazer 350 has no oil pressure. Oh man, that sucks. That sounds like that would be a cool Blazer. Is the 92? I'm not as good with the Chevy stuff. The 92 still the S10 body style, or is that after they went to the big body style? Um, because well, I mean, people put 350s in the little ones too, so I'm not sure. But okay, full size one. The full size, the full size Blazers are nice. Um, it was how did Chevy do it? Because it was weird. Because they had the full size Blazer and the S10 Blazer at the same time. I think for a while. Uh, 2-door full size. Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good Blazer to have. I had a 80 87, I think it was, Suburban, and when I bought it, somebody had already swapped 1-ton axles under the front and rear, a little bit of lift on it. That thing was an absolute beast and fun, but it had to about carry gas with you to drive it. So yeah, I didn't used to like the small ones either. I don't know if they've kind of grown on me, and I think honestly the reason they've grown on me a little bit is because I don't see them as much anymore. I think used to it was one of those things where every time you turned around, you seen three of them. And I think now, since I don't see them as much, they kind of grown on me a little bit. Sounds backwards. It's kind of like uh, the little Ford, or not the Ford Ranger. What was it? The Toyota, like the Toyota trucks. It was like the, I don't know, 83, 4, 5, 6, that body style Toyota truck that when we were kids, every freaking body had five of them, and they were everywhere, and everybody had those little Toyota trucks. And now you just never see those trucks, so it kind of makes you look at them now because you don't see them. It's kind of that kind of thing, you know. It's just one of those things where it used to be so common you ignored them. I think that's where I'm at now. A free truck, so hey, I'll take any free truck. I'll take any free truck. It doesn't matter what it is. 87 Toyota, 26,000 miles. Wow. Good Lord. You can go Barrett Jackson, that thing retire as hot as those things are. Holy crap. Oh. And that's the body style everybody wants too. I never. Oh, it's a Toyota motorhome. Oh, you got one of those little Toyota motorhomes. Those things are so bitchin' cool. I am not a Toyota guy at all, be honest about it, but I would absolutely snatch one of those little Toyota motorhomes for no other reason than you can literally go anywhere, and a freaking thing of parking a regular car parking space. Uh, those things are silly cool. Me and my wife actually looked at one of those right when we first got married, I believe it was, and should have bought it. It was one of those things back then, though. People were practically giving the things away. Nobody wanted them, and and it's just it, I don't know. Now they bring a little bit of money, and we should have bought it, but we didn't. 97 Dodge Ram. It's been sitting for 5 years. It will not start. What's the first thing I should be looking at? Okay, so when you say it will not start, do you mean when you turn the key, it doesn't do anything, or the motor spins over but doesn't actually fire up? Um, if if it's spinning over but doesn't fire up, I would absolutely start with the basics, spark and fuel. Um, Pretty sure what motor's in that thing? Probably like a five. I think it's a 5.7 or something. There should be a Schrader valve on the fuel rail there. Um, I would check it to see if there's fuel pressure. Okay, I would check to see if there's fuel pressure, and then I would check and see if there's spark. I would say one of those two, and if it has sat for that long, I'm going to say it's probably fuel pump related. The fuel pump has probably either the fuel pump or the fuel line is probably just gummed up. Is what I'm going to say. And you can check for fuel pressure. There's a Schrader valve on the fuel rail there. Uh, you can go to any. I don't know where you're at, but you can go to any auto parts store, O'Reilly's or any of those like that, and they usually have a Lona tool thing. You can get a fuel pressure gauge. It'll screw right on there. Turn your key on, turn it off, cycle it a couple times, and go out there and look and see what the reading is. I would almost bet your fuel pump has died from sitting. The only way I would think it would, and if you have fuel pressure, then I would check for spark. And the same thing, you can get a little inline bulb that plugs into one of your plug wires, spin it over and see if the little bulb flashes, and you know you got spark. But the only I would bet on fuel pump or fuel line related issue or relay, just because unless it's sitting in a field somewhere where rats have eaten it alive. Generally speaking, those fuel pumps, those electric fuel pumps, for whatever reason, just do not do well when they sit forever with that, especially with modern gas all caked up in them. It just kind of crumbs everything up in there. So I would bet on it being a fuel related issue. So check your fuel pressure at the rail out there. There'll be, if you've never done it before, there'll be a shredder valve out there. It looks like a valve on a tire you put air in on your fuel rail somewhere. It'll have a little cap on it, same cap. Just unscrew that cap, and you can get that tool from your local auto parts store, that rental tool. It screws right into place and just has a big gauge, just like a tire pressure gauge. Cycle your engine over a couple times and go out there and look at that gauge. You'll have to look online to see what your fuel pressure spec is supposed to be, but let's say 50, 55 pounds fuel injection, it'll probably be somewhere in that neighborhood, maybe more. So if it doesn't have a good bit of fuel pressure on it, then it's either the fuel pump or the line going to the engine is gummed up. My guess is going to be the fuel pump. Um, that's exactly where I would start at. Um, I don't see it being anything outside of fuel pump. Again, it could be spark, but I would say fuel pump. And the only downside of the fuel pump is it's in the tank, and if your luck is like mine, it's probably full of gas. Running out the top. So that's the kind of luck I have. But that's where I would look, and I would almost uh, you can always do a little wishful thinking and check relays and things of that nature as well. But um, with one sitting that long, fuel pump is going to be my go to on that one. But again, it's a very easy thing to check, and honestly, you can go get the loaner tool from O'Reilly's, or if you have a local Harbor Freight to you, I think Harbor Freight probably sells that tool for like $10 or $12, and you can just have one, uh, so you can check it in the future if you ever need to. Very very easy to do. Uh, but thanks for watching. Hope that helps you out a little bit. Um, we were just having a discussion on some things the other day, and how with all the stuff they put on these now, they're so over the top. You think I need to drop the tank and look inside for gum? Um, yeah, you're right. Harbor Freight is the place for a cheap tool, but they last. As far as dropping the tank, it honestly it depends. With it sitting, if fuel pump's bad, you're gonna have to drop the tank anyway. So it would be a mute point. If the fuel pump is bad, you have to drop the tank to change the fuel pump. So you'll be dropping the tank no matter what. Um, but you could go about it the way of running a bore scope down it and check if you just didn't want to go through it. But um, if it's been sitting 5 years, uh, again, I believe the fuel pump is probably bad. So if it's been sitting that long, then yeah, I would drop the tank. And just a tip, I don't know what you've got in your area, but just a tip, most, or at least they used to, most radiator shops will boil a tank out for you. I'm assuming that one has the metal tank. I don't think they started plastic tanks years later, but most radiator shops will boil a tank out for you, just like they'll boil a radiator out. And I don't know what it costs now, but it didn't used to be an expensive service. It used to be 40, $50 or so, and they would boil a tank out for you. And that joker is spotless when they're done. So, yes, you could run a bore scope through the field tube and go down and look in it. But I feel like, even though it's probably not what you want to have to deal with, I feel like that you're gonna be dropping the tank to deal with the fuel pump anyway. If it's been sitting that long, that's what my thoughts would be. I recently Had a friend of mine who had a GMC van who went through something similar, and it was fuel pump related. It was just drop the tank, go ahead and put a new pump in while you're in there, clean the tank out and all, new pump, new screen, uh, put it all back together. And the van hasn't had any issues since then. It's been running like a dream. So, um, and it was the same deal. There was a running driving. I know the van, so it was a running driving van. It was parked one day. Honest to God, that van was parked because the person just had too many on insurance, and then they just uh, parked that one to drop the insurance on it to save a little money, and the van set, and it was just from sitting, the fuel pump had gummed up with that crappy ethanol fuel that we have now. So it turned into drop the tank, fuel pump, and go through everything. Um, yeah, at least listen for the pump and see if it makes any sound. You should hear the pump turn on when you turn the key on. Then you may be dealing with something stopped up in there, maybe even a filter. But I really do think it's going to be a pump. Um, Rest garage winter headed to the track. Well, uh, as I mentioned earlier in here, we was going ahead to the track this past weekend with the Red Galaxy, but the that car was on loan, and the owner decided to sell that car, so it's going back home. We're not going out with it. But next week um, we will be putting new fuel lines and throttle linkage and all that on the white 63 and a half. So hopefully, right around the first of the year, we'll be back at Shady Side testing the White Galaxy and trying to get it ready for early for the new season. So the White Galaxy will be out there very soon. I probably won't uh, take the Mustang and do many videos with it because people don't want to see the Mustang and people don't want to watch videos with it. So the White Galaxy will be going, the 63 and a half. It'll be going back on the track probably right around the first of the year. I should have videos up about it within the next week and a half of finishing up that motor that we put in there 6 months ago, finishing up that motor, linkage, throttle linkage, fuel lines, and all that stuff, and getting it fired up. I should have that video. Uh, the parts will be here next week, so I should have a video of that up real soon. But then, of course, I I don't have a calendar in front of me. But then, of course, I think we'd probably be a week or so out from Christmas and things like that. So it'll probably be right around the first of the year when we get back to the track with it. Uh, hey, Colleen, how you doing? Uh, what do you think E85? Uh, E85, you need to be tuned for E85. You can't just put E85 in any vehicle and run. It's got to have an E85 tune to run that. Like the 63, yeah, I love the 63 as well. The 390 is my favorite Ford. 390 is a good engine. When I first started with that 63 and a half, that's what we ran in it. Was a 390. It actually was. I thought the car was kind of slow, but everybody else thought it was amazing how fast it ran to have a 390 in it. It was just the tolerances. We went through and tightened everything up and made everything better on that motor. So it was just a 30 over 390. It was nothing special. Stock rod, stock crank, had sealed power pistons in it. Just a cheap bottom end, but we actually physically measured the pistons and bored the cylinders to fit them, so the spacing and the gaps was dead on. Decked the block, tried to get a little more compression out of it. Shaved the heads, heavily ported the heads. It was a stock C3 heads on it. We heavily ported the heads, shaved them down a little bit, and then we put a RPM intake on it, and it had a flat tapped hydraulic flat tapped cam in it, the kind everybody's scared to run now, and an RPM intake, and it had a lot of people won't know what these are, but it had a Holley 3 barrel on it, 950 CFM 3 barrel on it, and a set of shorty headers, and that car would run 760s. And that car weighed, at that time, that car was 3,900 pounds, I think. That car was right at 4,000 pounds in it. It was running 760s with a 4-speed in it. That little 390 was a champ. I mean, it absolutely purred and ran like that. And then you could plow the track and drive it anywhere. You have a good evening there, Mark. Glad you stopped by. Yeah, so the three barrels, the three barrels. Now I don't know the exact history on it, but I talked to a guy that supposedly used to work with Holley. I've known about the three barrels for a while, but I've only owned a couple and never really dug into them. I just know they always work well. Let me tell you, when you bought one of those on, they work and they work great. But they only made them in two sizes, 950 and 1150, or 1050. Maybe it's 950 and 1050. They only made them in two sizes. Um, yeah, it was two regular size ones, and then the bottom was a long oval. It was like the regular size one without the space in the middle. So it was one long oval. The back, the secondaries was just one long oval. The primaries was the round ones, and they only made those carburetors 2 years. That's all they ever made, those carburetors. What he told me was those carburetors worked well, but because of that long third barrel in the back, your intake had to be notched, or you had to run a spacer for that to open. So, or have an open intake, a single plane intake. But for a dual plane, you had to have a spacer, have it notched. So there was a little bit of a problem there. Now, Blue Thunder actually makes an intake that's notched out on the back just for those, or did, and I think they carried that design on. But he told me that those carburetors worked so well, it was just a third blade back there being a hassle for the intake, that those carburetors actually evolved into and became the Dominator. And that's what started the whole Dominator line. Those carburetors insanely work well. Um, it's amazing at how well those carburetors work right out of the box. Um, I may have a photo. Let me see if I do or not. They're exceptionally well carburetors. Um, oops. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, if you can see, where's the camera? If you can see that right there, uh, that's what they look like on the bottom when you flip them over. And they work extremely well. But with that combination, that little 390 unit, that thing ran 760s all day long, and I thought it was, in modern era, you're like, yeah, it's really not all that, but for a little 390, it was impressive. Most people don't have 390s that run. They'll make a 4,000 pound car go down a track like that, and do little mini wheelies when it leaves too. So I will admit that there are times when I truly miss that little 390, because the car was just so tame. You could go race it and then drive it down the road. It was just such a nice tame little car, and she's all steel and all glass besides the hood. That's right. Oh, and a front bumper. I do have a glass bumper. Now she has a glass hood and a glass bumper on the front. But I'm so far past that little 390 now. I think that motor's in it now. Gosh, I can't remember what I done yesterday. The motor's in it now is 460, 461 or 462 cubic inches. Still FE. But I went from the guy that had every part in that motor had a Ford part number stamped on it. It was the C3 head, C3 block. They'd just been heavily machined and worked on. to the only thing that's forward on it now, I think, is the timing chain cover. But it's still an FE. And now instead of running a Holley 3-barrel on it, I'm running two VRS 750s on it. So it's it's a it's a whole nother monster. It's one of those things that it got out of control. It got out of hand quick. That car was never supposed to become all that it is now. It was supposed to stay kind of streetish and real street car that you went to the racetrack with and played with. But your desire to go faster and go faster and go faster kind of kicks in. And before you know it, you're standing there one day looking at it going, man, this is a kind of a violent car now. It's kind of went a little too far. Uh, it actually does got lights now. It didn't actually have lights for a while. I had went so far it didn't even have lights or anything on it anymore. I have pulled back, and there is a video somewhere of me doing some wiring where I've actually got everything working on that car back now like it was factory. Even the AM radio works in that car now. There's no speaker in it, but it comes on and lights up. Um, the factory little clock in the dash works now again. Everything on that car works again now. The horn, lights, everything, turn signals. But that goes back to me going, okay, I went too far. I need to pull it back, and let's make a drag and drive car out of it. Get up to Elkin, North Carolina. I'll show you a farm full of barn finds. Now, if you've got a farm full of barn finds, I'll find Elkin, North Carolina. um, so yeah, we're pulling back on it a little bit now. I'm leaving a big motor in it, but I'm going to ditch the 588 rear gear and go something more streetable. Mark, you're very much welcome. I hope that helps you out a lot, brother. I hope you get the truck running again. So yeah, we're trying to make the car more streetable. It's got a 588 rear gear in it now. I'm gonna pull that out and probably go to like a 456, 420, somewhere in there. That's you can't actually go to the grocery store in it if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you could. Or maybe me and a while could take it to go get ice cream one night. You know what I mean? Yeah. New Mexico, April. When I get back home, we'll be in touch. Yeah, get in touch with me. I like looking at stuff. We've made uh, uh, we made 2 trips now. Did 2 different videos, I think. Well, we drove to Georgia to go to Old Car City just to walk around out there and look at the old junk cars sitting around out there. So I'm always up for a road trip to go look at cool cars sitting around. I cannot bring anything else home. Listen, I can't bring anything else home. There was a time in my life when I thought I could save them all, and I tried. They were like stray cats to me. I tried to bring every one of them home. I can't do that. I can't bring any more home, but I love to go look at them. 70 Mach 1 and 1. That's a cool car. That is a very cool car. AMC cars. That's an oddball car that if I could get my hands, I think it's 60. I don't remember the year. I think it's a 69. The AMX, little 4-speed 390 car. That'd be a fun one to have. I don't know, just because it's an oddball. I like the oddball stuff. Gosh, we've had some cool stuff here, and just let it go because we know we can't get them all done. I really did try to save them all at one time. I was dragging stuff home out of scrap yards because I didn't want to see it scrapped. But at the end of the day, I can't save them all. Yeah, you let me know when you get back home and I would love to at least walk around and look at them and poke around and see them. It would be very cool to see some of those cars. Um, Mustang, yeah, you're right. The 70 wouldn't come cheap for sure. Oh yeah, I got no problem keeping a location quiet. Um, I don't I don't have a problem with that at all. That's definitely got to respect people's stuff. So that's not a problem at all. Um, yeah, Mustang guy, you're right. The 70 is not a cheap car. I think the 69 might edge it, but the 70 definitely ain't a cheap car. What year was the Boss 9 a 70? Was that 70 they done those cars? Uh yeah, I've got no problem keeping a location quiet. That's not a problem at all. You just let me know, and it's no problem at all keeping a location quiet. I actually the only place I've ever told where I was when I do a video like that is Old Car City. But the reason I told where that is because they stay open for people to come pay look at it. So it was to help them out. 351 car. Hey, it doesn't matter what's in the car. The car is cool. It's cool because it exists. Um, I am the guy that can look at the most roached out, clapped out garbage, and it's still cool to me because it exists. It is there, and it has stories to tell. So yeah, it doesn't matter to me what's in it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a lot cooler to see some rare engine combination. The Boss Nine. Like what's the rarest one? I think it was the Boss Nine 4 speed black on black car. I think it was the rarest combination or something. Yeah, it's awesome to walk up and see on that. But at the end of the day, uh, that car exists no matter what's in it. So it's very cool to see. No matter what, it's very cool to see. I actually wouldn't mind just because I have never owned one. I would actually wouldn't mind owning one of the Mach ones in the big bodied Mustang. I think it's 72 and 3. I think they were 72 and 3. I think it was the old big bodied Mach ones. I wouldn't mind owning one of those for the simple fact I've never owned one. It's the one car I haven't had. I don't really know, you know, it's one of those that you'd own it, drive it a little while, and then let somebody else own it. But I wouldn't mind owning one of those just because I never owned one. A buddy of mine had one when we was in high school, and I drove it once or twice, and uh, it was just a fun car to drive. Dream Car 69 balls, 429, black on black, red pinstripe, red. Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty awesome car. That would yeah, 69 balls, 429, black on black with red pinstripe. Yeah, yeah, that would be a nice car. If I had to pick one out of all of them, I don't know. If I had to pick one, if we stuck with Mustangs, I don't know. I don't really know what it would be because I kind of like them all. I mean, I even like the Mustang twos. I like them all. So I don't know what uh, Mustang it would be if I was just going to pick one. Um, I almost think I'd pick one of those big bodies, 71 2 Mach ones, just because I hadn't had one. GT, yeah, yeah. The the first generation I don't fit very well. The 64 and 5 and 6, 64 and a half. The 65 or 66, however you want to phrase it, I don't fit in those real well. The 67 fit a little better. 67 and 8. I feel a little better than them. So does he have any plans to ever do anything with all those vehicles, or is it just one of those things where he just enjoys looking at them? Uh, not that I'm in the market for anything. I'm just kind of curious what the plans were when he bought them. Is it just one of those things? I enjoy looking at cars, so I'm gonna park them out here and just look at them. Because can't really say a whole bunch about that. I got a bunch of mine. I got a bunch of them sitting around out here too, just because I like to see them sitting here. 68 Trano 428 code. Yeah. Yep. Been a long day. Trano 428 car. Yeah. Yeah. That would be a good one to have. I had a 68. Or was it a 69? But mine was a 302 car. But I had a tunnel ram on it. Of course, cut the hood, and the internet got mad at me because I cut some kind of rare hood. I don't know. Um, I don't know. It would be a hard decision if you just had to go out there and say, you know what, this is the car. This is the one. A car I'd like to have that I actually would spend money on to own if I had the money and it was a pretty good deal is I'd like a 68 Ford. Uh, I want the 68 Ford Galaxy, but I don't think it was the Galaxy. The Galaxy, I think, and the LTD, I think it was shared the same body that year. But the 68 Ford Galaxy, I love that fastback looking design. And they had the hideaway headlights on the front. Uh, I would love to have one of those cars. I seen one of those cars done up super nice, and they are next level when they're done up. Um, I think if I was going to, I think if I was going to go out and search for a car that I think was going to be the car I was going to drive everywhere, I think I would. I think I would look for the 68 Galaxy. It's got that it's got that cool fastback design to it, but it's still a big enough car. I'm assuming you just sent me the picture of your truck. I'm sitting here looking at it, and if that black Mustang back there in the background's in the way, I'll come get that one out of your way. I guess. I mean, even though I don't need it, but um, um, yeah, I think that would be the car that if I was just going to take one. Yeah, either that or you know an old station wagon of some kind that way I can still haul stuff in. Um, well, guys, I have enjoyed chatting y'all up tonight, and I've greatly appreciated it. Hey, listen, if any of you guys know anybody that has not seen any of my content, please take a moment to share it with them because I certainly would like to hit that 10,000 by the end of the year. That would set us up to do some really cool things next year. Um, just share a video with a random friend or whatever, and hopefully that helps out. Um, or that will help out. Hopefully, y'all can do that for me. Guys, I really appreciate you hanging out there with me tonight. Uh, Super 33. You can find I have a Facebook page with the same name as the YouTube channel, Frizzell Racing. You can find me there and send me stuff there, or I can actually put my email in right here. I typed like a little kid. Hold on. You can find me at let's see, make sure it's right. That is not right. I don't know what buttons I have mashed here. Um, but you can all right. I'm not seeing, there it is. You can find, that's my email address, 78speedshop at gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook at Frizzell Racing. Either one of those you can send me a message on. Um, and send me some photos and get in touch with me and stay in touch with me. And yeah, I would love to come check out the Field of Dreams there that you got. I think it would be pretty cool to come see that stuff. Uh, but yeah, I appreciate all you guys hanging out with me tonight, and there's gonna be some good videos coming soon. I hope. Uh, Hopefully, some that will interest y'all. So until the next time, guys. God bless y'all. We will see you on the next one.